Ave Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus began to reproach the towns where most of his mighty deeds had been done, since they had not repented. Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! For if the mighty deeds done in your midst had been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would long ago have repented in sackcloth and ashes. But I tell you, it will be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon on the day of judgment than for you. And as for you, Capernaum, will you be exalted to heaven? You will go down to the netherworld. For the mighty deeds done in your midst, if they had been done in Sodom, it would have remained until this day. But I tell you, it will be more tolerable in the land of Sodom on the day of judgment than for you. The Gospel of the Lord. Kateri Tekawitha, a Mohawk Native American, first Native American to be canonized. Because she became a Christian and baptized, she was ostracized, ridiculed, and persecuted by her own tribe. She lived a greatly sacrificial life. And her response to all of the vile against her was to remain firm in her faith in Jesus Christ. Unless your faith is firm, you will not be firm. Many magnificent things done in the land of Chorazin and Bethsaida. This is the area of Galilee where Jesus spent most of his time, and Capernaum. Many of these wonderful things are done, and they can't maintain their faith. They won't. There's no preference to turn to Christ. Perhaps to turn to sensationalism, to turn to fantastic events, to turn to the miracles, but never to turn to the giver of the gift, Jesus. Churches burnt this past week. People in prayer vigil guarding their churches harassed, accosted, spit at, sworn at, and do nothing except pray, like Kateri. Our faith must be firm, because if our faith is not firm, we will not stand. And perhaps one of the things we need to remember the most right now is eternal lives matter. That's what's important here. God, in the midst of thunder, assured Ahaz that if he stood firm, they would be blessed. And we will indeed be blessed, perhaps not in the way we think or want, but God has a plan for us. In the midst of adversity, in the fire of persecution, in the screeches of derision, our faith must be firm. We shouldn't be upset that the media has given little coverage to Catholic persecution right now. We shouldn't be upset by that. We should be happy. We should be rejoicing that we're among the poor and the ones who are considered not to have lives that matter, because these are Jesus' favorites. And so our faith is firm because we are with Christ at the cross. And as the prophet Isaiah says to Ahab, what's his name? That king. He says, this will not stand. And all these things you see, all this evil you see, will consume itself. Now, in this case, the prophet Isaiah says to Ahaz, it's going to take about 70 years for this to clean up. I'm not sure about the timeline here, but I do know all this evil will consume itself and destroy itself, and what will be left is those whose faith is firm and stand on Jesus Christ. Saint Kateri, pray for us.
Regina Celi, letare